Shoul I feel bad for leaving a company without notice if they tend to fire people without notice? You shouldn't feel bad. Just make sure you're never going to need anyone there for a reference or for some sort of professional connection. It's a professional courtesy, but if they're that cutthroat, I'd say they probably won't care if you don't. Are you in the USA? If so, then no. Do not feel bad. Try to avoid it though. Do try to find out if the company immediately fires those that turn in notice. Factor that into your plans. Are you not in the USA? No. Do not feel bad. Do check local laws and regulations. Give whatever notice you want, but be prepared for them to kick you out of the job immediately after you give that notice.
No.
I've always been told never to burn your bridges. It's a small world and you never who you'll see again. Better to give 2 weeks in my opinion. I always give notice because I want to leave on good terms and I have a long trail of references. That being said, I did once show up to work to receive my backdated checks and pay slips that I've been asking for 2 months. As soon as they were in my hands, I told them I wasn't going to be working here any longer and walked away. The next job I got asked me why I left, and I told them exactly why. You shouldn't feel bad. Question though, are the folks fired suddenly given severance? I worked at a place that did have to fire a few people, and due to security reasons they were walked out that day. They were given 2 months of severance though, sometimes more if they had worked long enough. So the sudden firing was done with a big last paycheck at least. For my own integrity, I would give proper notice. They may fire you anyway, but at least you did the right thing.
No.
Some companies offer severance packages probably withheld if you don't leave on their terms. They might fire you for giving them the notice anyways or offer you a raise to stay. I find it hard to believe that someone who makes too many mistakes was not informed of the mistakes at some point. Further, at a tire and lube place, I assume a mistake is costly and or dangerous. It's one thing to forget my fries. It's another to not tighten lug nuts enough or to put in the wrong oil. Lastly, you are assuming this is the reason he was fired. Maybe he was drunk or high, and this is why he made mistakes. Maybe he stole, got into a fight, or maybe he just made one too many mistakes. But, regardless of how they treated this coworker, the question is, what kind of character do you have? You aren't quitting because of this coworker. So using him as an excuse is just that, an excuse. It should not be a factor in your decision to give notice. After all, giving notice benefits your coworkers by you not screwing them. I would give notice, unless I had a damn good reason not to, and you haven't provided one, emo. You are making the assumption that the company didn't address the issue with this person. Too many mistakes means that they gave them multiple chances. Companies don't fire good employees. They keep them. While you have the right to quit with no notice, you won't be able to use that job as a reference, so leave it off of your applications. Right to work also means right to quit. I've been fired without notice. Additionally, I've quit without notice. I wouldn't use them as a reference obviously, but do you, homie? If you feel bad, feel bad. If you don't, then don't. There is no should here. Employment is a relationship as well as a deal. If a company fires you without notice, would you help them get employees in the future? Probably not. Do you want your company to help you get a job in the future? If so, I'd give them 2 weeks. Here, if you quit without giving the required amount of notice, they can keep the equivalent amount of pay to the amount of notice you failed to give. This can be taken out of work you've already done and not being paid for, or accrued leave that you would have been paid upon leaving. It also works the other way though. If they fire you and tell you to not come back, they then have to pay you out the equivalent amount of notice that they didn't give you. Notice, in either direction, is a way to end the working relationship, is a way to allow for a return to that working relationship. If either ends that relationship without notice, it means that returning is not an option. A company that fires an employee on the spot is signaling that they do not want to have that employee back. The fired employee would likely not want to come back either. A company that would want the employee back will give notice, or more likely, severance. The employee might not want to come back, but without it they certainly won't. An employee that leaves a company on the spot is signaling they don't want to come back. The fired company would likely not want the employee back either. An employee that might want to come back will give notice. The company might not want them back, but without it they certainly won't. The whole company doesn't have to give notice. Why do I? Isn't as asymmetrical as it sounds. I wouldn't feel bad. You aren't obligated to give notice. If you really feel that way about the company, then it doesn't matter. I personally try to be professional and believe in giving notice. Just for my sake. There were a couple of jobs I just walked away from because there was absolutely no point in being professional with them.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.